Hello and welcome to episode 39 of the Mental Health Gaming Podcast. I am Bradley, I almost forgot my own name, and once again, someone whose name I cannot forget, I'm joined by Stu. How you doing, Stu?
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, named seared into the cortex. That's the way that we want to do it.
Yes. I forget my own kids' names, but you're always in there.
Well, I'm far more important, so, you know.
You are.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of going at you like I'm, some kind of crazed stalker as well. I know your every movement. And
yeah,
what
I'm
you're
not
doing right now.
I thought I saw some binoculars outside last night. Yeah, a bit dodgy.
That's just the decoy. I'm much closer than that. I'm in your head.
Okay, that's just terrifying now, Brad.
So we'll get on to the week that was later. But we might as well start, and hopefully this goes well. What have we been playing?
Not a huge amount, but a couple of standouts. So I played Gradius 3 or Gradius 3, depending on how you want to pronounce it, from the back catalogue of the SNES, which is a funny one. I mean, why bother? Because that one's got slowdown. But the reason being, I've been watching a load of speedrun videos, and I saw somebody do it, and do it with one credit in about 40 minutes. I was like, oh yeah, I'll have a go at that. Anyway, played it through, really enjoyed it, managed to generate more slowdown than he did because he was really clever at picking the right options and power-ups so that he wasn't filling the screen with bullets. And so, and then I got to the end and I was like, I was sure I got clipped a couple of times and should have blown up, at least. And then realised somehow they'd patched in a cheat where I was invincible through the whole game. So I'd played the whole game thinking I was being ace and doing it on one life, and it was because I had invincibility, which is quite funny. But there you go.
Oh, so it would have been funny if you was an actual speedrunner. You've done that, you submitted it, and then you got caught out for cheating.
Yeah, can you imagine if I'd taken it seriously? It's like, oh my god, I'm a genius, and then realised that I'd been a spanner the entire time. Yeah. Oh dear. So yeah.
Good game that though. I did enjoy that when I played that. I think I played that on the SNES as well. And to be honest, back then, even then, I didn't notice any slowdown or anything like that because I don't notice those things on the whole. So
yeah. There's something wrong with you, definitely.
Yeah, I just probably. I suppose back then, when was that released? What year was that released?
Oh, that would have been about 91, maybe 90.
Oh,
It was a launch game in Japan, so 1990.
I would have been somewhere between 9 and 12 when I played that then. I'm an idiotic child. I just think that's probably the way the game's meant to be played.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't think you care when you're that young at all.
No, you don't.
And because I have the brain of a child, I think that's how I still think about games. Unless it's terrible, like we are going down to like a slideshow, then honestly it doesn't bother me.
I understand.
That's my gaming credentials gone.
Totally. Yeah, I'm not going to listen to anything you say from now on. Well, not that I did anyway, but you know.
No, I'm just white noise.
Sorry, what was that? No, yeah. So I actually quite enjoyed that. I'm going to go through again and play it and see how far I can get on one life, but I think it'd be quite far because I did actually pretty well, even taking into account the invincibility. Anyway, so yeah, that was fun. And I've also been playing Serious Sam 4, which, yeah, I'm doing for review. So that's kind of Serious Jank 4, really, just to use a terrible pun that doesn't even properly work. So it's not a desperately bad game. It's an extremely middle-of-the-road game with a load of technical problems on top and some really, really strange design decisions. So I won't go into mad detail because I'll do a review, but basically they've kind of tried to do a Doom 2016 with it and go, oh, we'll add all these new features and we'll tweak it to be more than what the public want.
Yeah.
Now, I've never played a Serious Sam game before, but my idea of them was basically Duke Nukem, but if he had a lobotomy kind of thing. So even dumber than Duke Nukem games. Everything runs at you. You don't have to reload. You just have to spray and pray. And it's all about the huge numbers of critters coming at you at once. So it has that. And some, remarkably wide open areas to allow it to happen. But it has reloads on the guns. Some of the guns are absolutely rubbish and pointless. In fact, you only really need the shotgun. If it wasn't for the fact that ammo is distributed and there's ammo for all the weapons, if it was all just shotgun shells and you could just use the super shotgun, that would be fine. It's so overpowered. So it's unbalanced. The weapons are a little bit pointless. The melee doesn't work properly, and there's stuff like I've killed everyone. I think I've killed everything in the arena, and I'll turn around and there'll be an enemy there who's just stuck in the scenery, and so you have to kill him so that it'll trigger the next part of the mission, and just serious jank like that every now and again as well. So it's a funny one. At the moment in this state, I couldn't recommend it at all, but it might be one of those you can recommend once they've managed to squash some of the really egregious bugs that are in it. And yeah.
So here's the thing that I've always thought about Serious Sam. Serious Sam as a series is crap. It always has been for me. Even the early games, I don't know why they got the reputation they got. And I don't mean to shit on Crow Team at all. But they are crap, but fun crap. I've played them and I've enjoyed them, but they are generally just not very good games, but they are somehow still fun. They're like a low budget movie in a way.
Yeah.
And but they led to the absolutely amazing set in the same world, so up its arse and serious, the Talos Principle as well, which is really bizarre because you could look deep into that and you see how much those two worlds are intertwined.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, completely. If you look deep, there's many facets about the Talos Principle that link directly into Serious Sam to show they are set within the same world. So Crow Team have got something about them. They are clever guys and girls who make those games. But yeah, Serious Sam has been crap. But for me, it's the gaming equivalent of The Room, the Tommy Wiseau film. For anyone who doesn't know, where it's earned a reputation of being something that you know it's crap, but you enjoy it because it's crap. And that's what Serious Sam is now.
Yeah. Yeah. I was expecting it to be a bit of a B-movie, like EDF type game. But yeah, no, I wasn't expecting it to be like mechanically broken in some areas, and I think that's kind of hit them hard. They do seem to be like working really, really hard on bug fixes. I think they probably got it pushed out the door by their publisher, but yeah.
And it is Crow Team behind it, isn't it? Again,
I think so. Yeah, I'd have to check it.
Yes, it is. It's Crow Team and published by Devolver Digital.
Yeah.
So I suppose maybe because it's Devolver Digital as well, maybe subconsciously it's held to a higher standard than what you might if it was self-published or something like that. I don't know.
I've never played any of them before, so I'm just literally going off what I'm playing, and yeah, it's a bit funny for it to have been released in that state, to be honest.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I would go back and play the others because they are serious jank but are entertaining at the same time. And I wonder if it might reframe your opinion on Serious Sam 4.
Yeah, fair play.
So yeah, well, talking of Devolver Digital, I've been playing another one of their recently published games, and that is Disc Room.
Uh-huh.
You mentioned it briefly last week that it looks like one I'd enjoy, and I hate to say this, Stu, you're 100% correct. Absolutely 100% correct. Yeah, it is wonderful because it does that thing that both Tetris does and that the original Monkey Ball did. It's so damn simple in its execution that it just becomes brilliant. You focus on doing one thing and then building that up and building that up and doing that well, that it's just brilliant to play. You know, you realise that you will die. You can get special power-ups and stuff like that will aid you, but nothing that's too overpowering. Each of them have benefits and weaknesses, which is really good. There are bosses to beat, which is quite interesting how you do that. But it's a one-note game, but does it so spectacularly well. So for anyone who doesn't know, the concept is you get put into these individual rooms, and these serrated blade discs are flying around trying to hit you, and you've got to avoid them just by running around. And basically, it's a sort of high score game in a way, where you just got to survive for as long as you can. And if you survive for long enough, you open up doors to another room and you proceed. You do the same. You move on. you do the same, you move on, you get a boss battle where you do the same, but you have to then hit some little, pick up some little bits which cause the boss damage. You move on, you do the same, you move on. You get different disc types, so you'll get different attack patterns and things like that. And they layer upon each other, and each room has a sort of semi-theme to it that you just improve on. There's like some little subtleties. So most rooms you can run around, you survive for as long as possible. And there's other rooms where you've got to stay within a portion of that room for the clock to actually count. So if you move out of the inner circle, the clock stops, and then you have to go back in, and you need to clear X amount of time. Really clever stuff there. And it is just so simple. But what it did get me doing was I was playing it initially, and I was going, this is a bit like Don't Die, Mr. Robot.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and replay that just to see, how much of a rip-off is it. And it's not. Went back and played Don't Die, Mr. Robot, and it's like comparing, I suppose, Halo to Fallout. In a way, like, because they're both first-person shooters, doesn't mean that that's what they're defined to be. Both of these are where you avoid enemies by moving around the screen, and you can do different things and so on and so forth. But the actual way you play them and the ethos behind them both is very different. So with Don't Die, Mr. Robot, you're trying to build up fruit. You always want to avoid the fruit while you're moving around, whilst avoiding the enemies, and then setting off a chain reaction with the fruit to destroy the enemies. Whereas with Disc Room, it is 99% just avoidance, stay alive.
Yeah.
And what I love it for, one, it got me to appreciate Don't Die, Mr. Robot again, because I've not played that for a good couple of months, and I love that game. If you haven't checked that out, you can get that cheap pretty much anywhere. If you've got a Vita, you can still get that one, and it's still fairly cheap. But Infinite State Games, Mike Dorr, who make that, send them your love. It's one of my favourite games of the last few years. But yeah, Disc Room, really good, really, really good, because it does that monkey ball thing where you can play it one-handed, and that's it. You learn the control, and you're good to go. I'm not good at it, by the way. I'm not very good, but it is brilliant. And I'll talk more about that. I'll be doing a bit of a ramble on that. But yeah, it is superb.
Nice.
It makes me feel, actually, just to cover what the ramble was about, it makes me feel good as well, because it does the countings in from, like, obviously seconds and then fractions of a second. It's actually so easy to improve each time once you learn the techniques and you go back. So you might survive for, say, 15.431 seconds. So when you go back out and you do 15.526 seconds, it just feels like you've improved by loads because of that, like, to 3 decimal points.
Yeah.
It really makes you feel like you really have nailed improvement. It's like when you're doing a lap on a racing game and you manage to beat your time after, like, the 60th try by a fraction of a second. It's like that, but more instantaneous. So it's got a really good endorphin rush to it as well. Yet when you die, because it's instant restarts and stuff, and every level is about, at most, 45 seconds long so far. You're just never out the action for long, so even the disappointment doesn't last. So yeah, absolutely, it's nailed it. Absolutely brilliant.
Awesome.
And just one other I'll touch on now that I've been playing is one that's a little bit out of my wheelhouse. Actually, I wasn't expecting to do much with it, and that's Crown Trick.
Yeah.
And that's it's an RPG dungeon crawler turn-based type thing. But it's live turn-based. So the reason I like this... Have you played Cadence of Hyrule and Crypt of the Necro Dancer? Sorry.
No, I've not played either of them.
So that's fine. But both of those games are basically you move around the dungeon and you have to do it to the beat. And every time you move, the enemy move or they move to the beat and stuff like that. So you have to time your movements, but you have to be aware of what the enemies are doing at any one time. So they've got patterns rather than they look at you and then focus on you, and you have to work around those. Now, the concept of those games are brilliant, but I just can't do them because I have no rhythm and I can't keep to the beat or anything, and it gets too much for me. So Crown Trick takes that whole concept and kind of removes the musical beat element to it. So every time you move, the enemy makes a move, and it's turn-based in that way. and you have to use different tactics you can skip your go and make the enemy move. You can move on the spot to make them move, and then you got this idea is when you attack them, if you do enough damage with an attack, you get a break on them, which renders them completely useless, and then you can absolutely level them. And then that whole concept gets harder and harder and harder as it goes by adding layers upon layers to it, and makes things more complex, but in a way that's really easy to understand, and it guides you through the game really well. About halfway through at the moment, and I've not got to the point yet where I'm going, I'll see it through and I'm wanting to play it. It's a really good game, and I will talk more about it. But if anyone played Cadence of Hyrule or Crypt of the Necrodancer and struggled with it because of the hectic nature of it, give Crown Trick a go. It gives you that game, but a more easier paced level, but with all the challenge that you would want from it as well.
Cool. Yeah, other than rhythm action games, that bullets per minute is the only thing I've played sort of similar, but that's 3D, not 2D. So,
yeah. No, I had a look at that. That's way beyond me, completely way beyond me. That one, I don't even want to try it because that would just make me depressed.
Yeah, it made me depressed. Definitely.
So yeah, so if you anything else, or has it just been those couple for you so far?
Yeah, just those couple.
Fair enough. I've got a couple more, but otherwise it'll leave no content for the YouTubes. But I'll just tell you what they are. Some more Lonely Mountains and Cook Serve Delicious 3. But though you'll have to check out the YouTube channel if you want to find out my thoughts on those, because now we're doing cross promotion.
I will check those out.
Yes, you will. The staff don't even check them out usually. That's fine. The staff? What's that all about?
Staff.
Someone's getting a bit big for their boots, aren't they?
Oh, someone's off themselves.
The staff.
Yeah.
The hired help.
Sorry, master. Sorry.
Yes. You know your place.
I do. Should do.
So one of the things I'm going to chat about now, moving on. And I'm going to drag this little bit out because I know Stu puts the musical interlude in there, and I try and make it a bit easy for him.
Jeez.
So, but yeah, it's just this bit. Anyway, this last week, on various stages, I've been suffering huge crisis of confidence, and to the point it almost made me get to a point where I went, should I even be doing this? Does anyone really want to listen to me? And I know the answer's no, Stu. I know no one actually wants to listen to me.
Damn it. You preempted my joke.
But no, I got to a point where I was wondering, like, who am I actually speaking to? You know, is everything just sympathy based, or are people humouring me? And it's that little devil that gets inside your head and he burrows in. I say he because he's an absolute bastard as well. Yeah, it has to be a man because, yeah. But, yeah, he burrows in and they just, little bit. So you'll put out, I think I put out a new video type last week. And I put it out and I was okay putting it out, but I was already telling myself that it was crap. And I think if people saw my tweets at that time, I was telling them, I'll put this new video out. I know it's crap. I was preempting negativity and telling everyone it was crap and it might not work, it might not do this. And that was the first little sign that demon inside had got to me. And then it was off the back of my eyes. I hadn't done much and I had a build-up of stuff that I needed to get recorded. And so I was looking at it and I was going, is it even worth doing this now? I'm not playing, but I can't see well, so I'm not going to be playing very well. I've only recorded some games. I only ever record like the first few minutes of a game anyway. So whenever people see my footage, it's literally from either the tutorial or the opening levels of a game. And it's not because I'm only playing those opening levels. It's because I don't want to show people what's deeper into a game unless there's something absolutely outstanding that I think changes everything. I think I want people to discover it all themselves. So I only show the opening moments.
Yeah.
So then I've got to be going, well, people might think I'm just blagging this. People might go, well, if he's only shown the first 5 minutes of the game, why is he talking about the whole game? So I was like, so should I be changing that? Should I be make sure I'm recording for hours and hours and hours just to get 5 minutes of footage? So there was that going. And then I was looking at my edits and I was going, they're not very good. I was looking at views on a few of them and I was going, it popped up. I was watching YouTube on the TV, watching food and stuff, and one of my own videos popped up, and it had like 30 odd views. And I looked at it, and the videos around it, which were nothing to do with what I was doing. One was about a review of like killer clowns from outer space, and the other one was something to do with the new 30 series graphics cards from Linus Tech Tips, and they've got like hundreds of thousands, if not a million review like views and stuff like that. And there's mine with like 30 odd. And I looked at it and just went, "Who am I actually talking to?" And so instead of going logically, well, look, they've been around for years, these people who are doing these. They've built up an audience, and now they are named. So they can, any video they put out is immediately going to get tons of views just because of who they are and what they cover. And going, Brad, you're covering something that's actually still quite niche, and that a lot of people don't really want to admit they need to listen to or talk about.
Yeah.
So the name alone of what you're doing, mental health gaming, might put people off wanting to check out what you're doing. Looking at it all logically, instead of that, I'm just going, is it even worth it? You know, and I've always told myself that if I reach one person or one person catches our stuff and it's good for them, then job done. But that demon guy's going, well, you know, you should be reaching more than one person. You know, all that effort, you're putting in a good few hours effort of editing and recording voiceovers, and I mean, you've already made excuses as to why you don't do various different takes of your voice because you know, you're ADHD. You're using your ADHD as an excuse, Brad. So what's the point? These 5-minute rambles, do people really want to listen to you to 5 minutes? And it's in there constantly. And then sort of like, so you get in there, and I'm sitting there going, I could play some games now, and so make sure I'm a bit more informed when I've got the footage. And then I'm going there going, should I set up the camera and record some stuff for it, or should I just play and then use that to form my opinion? And by the time I've actually come round to going, shall I? I've then got to the point where I'm going, I can't be asked to play this now. So that goes from it, and it's in my head going, see, look, you can't even be bothered to play your game, Brad. Your footage you got, you weren't very good in that footage you got. People are going to judge you, Brad. They're going to judge you. And I was bottling it inside, and just letting the demon take hold, trying to do a few bits to battle it and things like that. And then two things I happened where I decided that no, actually, this is how I'm going to combat it. They happened at the same time. So one was to do with me, and I'll come to that in a minute, and the other was my son, who is such an optimist. He gets, like, at the moment you can win like a PlayStation 5 in Doritos. And his opinion is, well, I'm going to eat Doritos because I'm going to win. You know, I've got a good chance of winning. Whereas my opinion on stuff like that is, why bother?
Yeah,
you're not gonna win. But his is, well, no, I've got the code. I'll text the code in. I might win. And he, I don't know if I told about it on the podcast before, but people who know me know this, that he entered a photo competition. He was shortlisted, went to a public vote. Unfortunately, didn't win the public vote. He lost out to a semi-professional adult photographer. Which is fine.
Yeah.
That's fine, because it wasn't a competition that was only open to amateurs, so don't get me wrong, it's absolutely fine. But the winner contacted Lucas personally and left a note on one of his photos on the photo he had entered, and went, just to let you know, it's a shame you didn't win. This was one of my favourites in the whole competition. Keep at it, and you will win stuff, and you will become a good photographer. So really lovely of him, really, really lovely. So Lorraine sent him a private message and said, thank you, you know, my son was a little bit disappointed, but you've just made his day. And he responded back with quite an in-depth thing as to why Lucas's photo was good, why he chose that and another one as his standout photos. And he said you can tell he's got a good eye. He's not just taking good pictures, he's taking excellent photos. There's care, there's consideration. And honestly, he went, just let him keep going. Now, he will lose competitions. He went, I lose more than I win. He will win some as he goes. Don't let that be the defining characteristic of his photography. And it was just really good to hear. And that gave me a little bit of a boost personally as well.
Yeah.
And the thing that done for me was like, I've always been not wanting to tell people that I'm having crisis of confidence, but I've been trying to do that more often than not. So I put it out there on Twitter and got some good response of, you know, what you're doing's great. And I wasn't doing it to get let people tell you you're great. It wasn't that kind of, I'm going to fish for compliments. But at the same time, it was because we all need an ego boost at times.
Oh yeah.
And it's something we do need. And, as long as you're not someone who's out there all the time, after you've just been told, what you do is really good. And then 5 minutes later going, do you know what? I suck again. Because you can tell when it's genuine. You can tell when people are just doing it because they fancy some compliments or they fancy attention. I don't like that. So I'm always very nervous about doing it. But I put it out there. And it was nice to hear people say that what we do is good.
I think what's great is, similar to when you're in a good job, which I've heard actually happens sometimes. You gain support from people and you feel their support, because if you make a mistake, if you do something wrong, or your content or your output isn't great, they'll tell you, like we do on our site. If something's going wrong, if technically it's not good and needs redoing or tweaking, or if the content is a little bit, we need to adjust it here or there, like people will tell you that, and they'll tell you it straight away, and they won't just go, it's absolutely amazing, superb, it's fantastic, it's wonderful, because there's no value in anyone just saying that to you the entire time. And it's lovely to have that from like your family, and then they always go, well, you're the best, you're fantastic, everything you do is brilliant.
Wait, is that what families are meant to do?
Apparently, but
I'll grab a word with mine.
But yeah, no, it's great if you've got your family saying that you're excellent, because that's what they're there for. But obviously, that's not a critique. But I think one of the reasons why you and myself and loads of our other team members have been able to succeed with what they're doing for the site is because we'll just be honest. So when somebody does come on and go, do you know what, that's great, or they go, no, you don't need to worry about your content, it's been fantastic, then they're being honest, because if there was a problem they would tell you about it.
Yeah. And what I'd like to say as well is, having Duffy recently put out his first article and seeing the reaction to that has been amazing. I hope it's been amazing for him, because I know it was great for me, because from the very first second he showed interest, but was saying along the lines of, I want to write, but I don't know if I'm good enough. First thing I did was I made him a staff member, gave him an account on the back end of the site so he could post whenever he felt like it, but without the pressures of, go and post something. Because some people can work under pressure, other people can't. I wanted him to be ready. And he's now put out his very first piece for us, and it is really good, and it's gained traction, being read by quite a lot of different people. It's been shared, and that is really good. And I'm hoping for him, it's shown him that he's good at what he does, and that he's got an outlet there, and he carries on to do it. But that made me feel really good about him and about myself, that, we are able to give people that outlet. And at the same time, we've got a couple of other people who can't write at the moment through various different reasons. But there's no pressure to, because I think if you're not in the right creative space to do it, it's going to show in your writing.
For sure, yeah.
But usually I look at a backlog of stuff and go, right, let's get that number down. I love that. I will take that on. Someone else, a friend who writes for us as well, sent me a message a couple of weeks ago, went, are you doing too much? And I was like, no, honestly, I'm doing what I love doing. So honestly, I'm not doing too much. If I was, I'd be trying to force everyone to take stuff. But as it is at the moment, I'm in a space where I can actually now sit down at a computer, headphones on, and I can crank through games. So I'm happy to take that on. But I've always, and I hope this always comes across, I've never put any pressure on anyone to have to do anything, apart from you to get these edits out, by the way, Stu. You know what happens if you do not get these edits out.
I'm still scraping out the bamboo shoots from under my fingernails from weeks ago.
But yeah, I think we've said, haven't we, sometimes that we'll aim for a Friday, and I think I've said to you before, if it ends up going to a Saturday, it ends up going to a Saturday or a Sunday. What does it matter in the grand scheme of things? And that's where I want to take the pressure off, because I think learning from what AAA companies do, and even some of the indie companies, putting people under crunch pressure just stifles all enjoyment, all creativity.
Yes.
So, yeah, but pressure, I'll never try. At least I hope I would be told if I was putting pressure on people, but I'd never put absolute pressure on people to do anything. But it's just, yeah, everyone who's worked with me, because I'm not going to call you staff because I hate using that, but it's because it's a known term. My staff.
Well, I just call myself the co-founder everywhere, so I hope you're cool with that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's what I never knew how to put. I started calling at the start. I was calling myself the owner, and I went no because I don't want me to be the owner. Eventually, ideally, if someone takes this further than what I could do it, then great. I'm happy to hand it over. So yeah, I've been calling myself founder. So I might change to co-founder because yeah, even though it was around a couple of weeks before you got involved, Stu, it only really took off when you got involved. So yeah, I'm good with that.
Well, I was just doing it for my ego and to make it myself both look and feel bigger. So
I'll have a proper talk. We'll have a proper discussion about it off air where you'll remove it from your emails. I mean, no, that's absolutely fine, Stu. Absolutely fine for the public, honestly.
Okay.
But I want people to feel that this is something they can be part of and they can share. And it's, what we do bring in on the minimal amounts via Twitch and Patreon literally all just go into hosting costs and SoundCloud costs and things like that. I wish I was gallivanting off and, spending it on drugs or whatever. I wish that was the case, but it's not. It goes on like hosting costs. But if we ever got to the point where we was turning a profit, that's something I'd want to share with everyone. Make sure everyone gets their £1. And I'm going to stop talking now. Yep.
That's good.
So yeah, that was maybe a bit of a soppy one. But yeah, it is just a thanks to everyone for being involved with this at whatever level. You got anything you want to add before we head off? I mean, you haven't shut up the whole episode, Stu, so...
I know, you have to quiet me down sometimes from getting overworked. Yeah.
I don't. Sorry, I'm doing it again. Sorry. But it just popped into my head. I don't do my FA course at the moment, and one of the cool bits we had to do was set up some training drills in pairs or threes. And because I missed one because of my foot, I got put into a pair with someone. So we set up the training drill, and I'm going around, I'm coaching, and I'm bellowing at the other coaches, giving them positive encouragement as I do with my kids. I project my voice. I think that's come from presenting and stuff like that you learn to do that. Whereas a lot of the other coaches were like very quiet, even though they was trying to get across instruction. It was all very quiet. It was like, right, okay, can everyone right now? Could you go you go to that code, you go to that code, and I'm like bellowing and projecting this voice. Comes to the end and getting feedback, and was like, yeah, Brad was really positive, it was really good. And then like the main instructor turned around and went, right, okay, what about the other one? Everyone went, we didn't realise he was doing it. And I just went, oh crap, I've done it again, haven't I? I haven't shut up.
Oh wow.
And you've got to talk less when you're coaching, but I can't help it. I'm a talker.
No.
I know. It's a coping mechanism as well for a lot of things. So it's like, but I don't want to start. I actually sort of took him to the side afterwards and went sort of like, I do apologize. I don't mean to do it, but I said, this is what I'm like. Unfortunately, this is what I have to do. And he was understanding with it, which was all good. But yeah, I'm a talker.
Yeah. So I think you asked me a question a while back. Yeah. Did I want to add anything? Not much, but only that like you're doing study, I'm studying as well, and it's really good when it's something you're picking in your adult life. It's really good when you're picking something that you genuinely enjoy rather than you feel like you have to do it when you're a kid. So yeah, that's good. It's again positive feedback for something that you're doing, but you'll also get criticism if you're getting it wrong. So it's an important part of life, I think.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You done now? Christ. Jesus, that dragged on, didn't it? But so what I'm going to do as a treat for everyone, because I'm now getting a sore throat, because that's my punishment. Stu, I'm going to let you sign off. Go on, you sign off for us.
Okay, so thanks for listening, everybody. And as usual, make sure that you're following us on YouTube, on Twitter. Join our Discord if you want. We have a great active community. We talk about games, but we talk about all sorts of other stuff as well. Feel free to follow us and pay on Patreon if you want to support what we're doing, or on Coffee. And I've been Brad. I've been joined by that idiot Stu. And in the meantime, till next time, stay safe.
There we go, we're out.